Hello and welcome to a special edition, which is late night vibe coding with Unplugged Education. But what we're doing today is we're going to have a look at the latest release of Ignition, and we'll see how we go with this. This is the first time that I'm actually looking at the 8.3 beta release, so you're getting kind of a live aspect of what I'm looking at. So we'll go on the journey together. So we're going to do it today in a Docker container. So let's see if we can get that all up and running first time, hopefully. So what we're going to do here is we are going to use Docker for desktop. I find this is the easiest thing to use when spinning up Ignition instances. What we can see here is if we even just search inductive automation, we'll get the latest Docker container, but what we want is actually this 8.3 beta edition. So let's have a look at this. We'll actually run it, pull it and run it. So it shouldn't take too long to do that. We'll have to just play it by ear. So we can see here the image has been downloaded. What we're going to do is we're going to run that image and create a new container. What I'm going to do is I'm going to call this Ignition Beta just for simplicity. We're going to define the port as 8089, just because I already have an Ignition instance running, and it's taking up 88 port, so it makes it super easy. We'll run that. We can see here that the container is spinning up. What we'll do is we'll jump into the gateway. You can see that it's in commissioning mode already. What we have here is the 3 editions that are available: Ignition Standard, Ignition Edge, and Maker Edition. So as usual, we'll just go for the standard 2-hour trial just to have a look at 8.3. We'll do the standard setup. Doesn't take too long. We can go admin. I'm going to assume this is a really bad password. We'll set it up. We'll start the gateway. It's actually redirected to the wrong gateway, which is fine. You can see that it's starting. Oh, and here we have the new look gateway homepage. It has get your Ignition installation up and running with an example application, device connections, sample tags, and configuration. Configured gateway recommended for new users. What we're doing today is actually just digging in, so I'm not gonna enable the quick start project just yet because we just want to have a look. What I can see is this is the home page. It has all your kind of standard links. It's a nice new configuration. It's dark mode, which is pretty cool. So we can just recenter that. Yeah, it's already in trial mode once you configure it as well. Alright, so what we can do is we can go in here. So there's a couple new tabs here. So you can download the designer. I actually do need to download the new designer. So I will do that in the background. So really easy to do. We can see here we've just got the designer version. We can install that. And we'll wait to launch that in a bit. Let's have a look at the gateway. So first of all, I like the fact that you can launch Perspective projects as well straight from this home page. It's all locked down because I'm not logged in. So let's log into the gateway. We can see here that it's opened up more functional areas, divisions. These are the new tabs that will give us our system information. So we can go to platform, and this gives us all our configurations, it seems. So we can see all the different new functions, icons. Oh, I like that. Okay. So we can configure icons, configure resources. Configured resources will be here. That's interesting link there to services. So that's an interesting one. So obviously with a beta, they're going to have some little bugs, some errors that they're working on the next release with. So yeah, really interesting to see this page. That's the platform overview page. System gateway settings. These are going into some of the script function, message encoding. That's pretty cool. All right, we'll see. As I said, we're just looking through, seeing some of how the system is now laid. There are some extra functions that we can find as well. So the modules. So there's obviously new modules available in 8.3 as well. So there's a Postgres driver that's pretty cool. Also got the Kafka connector. So that's pretty interesting if you're into Kafka. We also have event streams, which I'm pretty interested in digging around in as well. So let's have a look a bit more around. So we've got licensing, we've got store and forward, security. It's quite nice to have it all in one area. API keys, so we can create API keys directly in the gateway. That's pretty sick. So I'm going to assume that you can create basic tokens. Nice. We'll have to dig into that a little bit more in future as some really interesting. So we've got connections, and this looks like a good overview of all the connectivity portions. So your database connections, your OPC connections. You can see here the JDBC driver connections, so your SQL databases. Really interesting. I like how the trial mode banner is quite persistent as well. That's quite handy. When we're working in trial mode, we can see configured resources, connections, database settings. That's pretty handy. We can see MySQL is installed. All the drivers are now installed. That's pretty good. Translators. So this is just a sneak peek on some of the functions. We've got the network dashboard. So this is really handy when you're looking at multiple gateways. If you've got connections with redundancy, EAM module, we've got this live dashboard here. So this will view multiple instances of Ignition that are connected together. So that's a pretty cool, and it looks like you can export that as a architecture diagram as well. That's going to be really handy when you start scaling out your Ignition instances. Network settings. So we've got the standard network settings in this area. It's handy. Gateway system diagnostics. Oh, test remote server responses. That's interesting as well. We've got enterprise. So configuring EAM. That's interesting as well. We've got services. So services are your historians, where you can create a historian. This has multiple options when we can create a new historian. So we can have a CSV data splitter historian. That's pretty cool. So you can write to two historians at the same time. Internal historian. One thing that I hadn't seen before is the simulator historian. So that can provide you some testing data. That's really handy when you're commissioning, going through the commissioning process as well. So we'll have to trial that one out. As well as the new internal historian, the Quest DB historian. So that's your new time series database. It's really interesting as well. So I'm really excited about that. Event streams. So these are configured in the designer, from what I understand as well. So we might as well head over there, but this new gateway seems pretty intuitive. So let's jump over to the designer. So we are logging into the Ignition instance of the designer. It is connecting to our beta. So we'll do the super secret password, and we are welcomed by the designer. So there's currently no projects. So what we'll do is we'll create just a quick test project. Test. Don't need to do anything here. We will launch the designer. Hopefully it won't take too long. I think it's been pretty efficient as well, as it starts up all the modules. And here we have the latest version of the designer. So first thing I can see, I actually haven't looked through any of the documentation, so this is kind of a look and feel, let's see how we go type approach, and we'll probably go into some more depth around the designer itself. So I think some of the functions, what we might have a look at is create a new view. We'll call it test. We'll create a flex container just to house all our components. And so from what I understand, there's a couple of new functions. So if we look at forms, we can create new forms. So these are one column. There's a couple of templates here I can see. So form one, a one column form, a 2-column form, and a blank form, which is quite interesting. So let's try the single column form. And it already has some pre-made forms. We can make that grow so it fills the container. And what we're going to do is we're going to dive into what I would imagine is the items. It's pretty intuitive, right? So that we've got one column, we've got rows. So here are rows and here are items. And what I can see here is widgets and here. So we have the ID, which is a header. We can have the label, so we could change the label. This is pretty easy. So, okay, we want to go test label. Oh, let's change that. Test label. So that's pretty cool. So these are all like predefined, so we can make these really quick. So I'm sure we can do it with scripting in the future. But here you can see you can pick a type. So we could pick a date picker type. We could take passwords. I believe that these have validation against them as well, or you can create validation rules as well. But the idea is that we can quickly create these inputs to this form, which is pretty cool. So let's pick just like a date picker for one and see what we can do. So with that, we can now pick a date. So it makes it super easy, super quick to do it. We can create these items on the fly. So what is item 1? So we've got a text field here as well, but we can change that. If we needed to change it, we can change it to a checkbox. We can change it to a slider and make it like a really quick form. We can duplicate items really quickly. It kind of takes away all the manual effort of doing that as well, and we can test it here as well and see everything coming together. So that's pretty handy. That's going to be really quick for building out digital forms and getting that all going. You can see some validation here on the right. We can see some functions here around styling, which is handy, so we can predefine the styles as well. And then we can here, I'm sure at some point, if we look through all the documentation, we'll probably be able to see where this or how this is saved into the database as well. So we can see widget IDs. And the data is populated into the data field. That is really handy when we're looking to take some of those data inputs out of these forms. That's handy to have it in that data area. Cool, so that is forms. Okay, let's make a new view. And we'll call this test drawing. We'll make it a flex container again. We'll make this nice and wide. And if we go drawing, okay, and we'll drag that in. We'll make it nice and big. Okay, so we have now native drawing tools. So these are first round drawing tools. You can see design. We can see settings. So settings is quite interesting. So you can set the view box of your SVG within the runtime environment. So that's pretty cool as well. So a guide, color, show grid. Oh, that's pretty cool. Visible grid lines. Okay. snap to grid. That's always handy if you want to do really pixel by pixel SVGs. Really handy. And then on here we have our, paint by numbers style tools. So we've got a path tool. I imagine that is for, okay, that's called line tool. I think this is going to be one of those work in progress type things. Get to know the tool. Clearly I'm not one of those experts in the drawing tools yet. But we can see here squares. I think in the bottom left corner here, you can't see it because of how I've got the screen, but you can see behind here in the corner here we have it says drag to create a new ellipse or hold control to make a circle. So what we can do is make circles and ellipses quite quickly, and then that's really handy. So we can do that. Obviously all these will now give us elements in this area. So what my understanding is as well is that we combined the fill properties of these particular elements, or any well, not any, but here you can see stroke. So if you want to make these like super wide as well, so if you want to go like a 20 pixels, make it really thin, we can actually bind to those particular values. That's really handy when we're doing SVGs and we want to like dig into the paths of them as well. So that will be really interesting to see how we can develop using these tools as well. So it looks like you can change the fill, you can change the opacity, bound at this stage, rotation you might do in the actual designer. So let's see how it goes in. So if we apply this, so we can then see all these different elements that we can bind to in the drawing tool. That's really handy. I quite like that. And then you can jump back into it and do some editing. So that's pretty cool. All right. Well, that's a bit of a preview to drawing tools as well. The next thing that catches my eye is actually the event streams. So haven't done too much digging into event streams, but my understanding is that you can create a new event triggers based on various sources. So either a tag event, a Kafka tag, or event listener, or a HTTP request, which is pretty cool. So let's go on a tag event. We can create that. So that gives us our interface. We can enable and disable. Seems like it's enabled by default, so we might disable it. This gives us our hide test panel. So the stream changes are pending, so it's not saved, so it won't be running, so that's good. What we're doing here is, so we've got a tag event, we want the tag path, so we can choose our tags. Don't really have any tags at the moment, but what we could do is we can go into the tag browser, use the system tag. Maybe you want to look at something that's going to change on the gateway, say the OPC UA server. If the state is connected, something like that. And we can go here, we can filter it. So for a given event, return true if after evaluating the event you want to continue to the next stage in the event. So yeah, if your filter is good, it will return true, and then it will move to this next stage, which is transform. So we can go through to transform, we can have a look through, we can change the data as we need. We can do calculations, those types of things. Maybe we want to publish it into the UNS or a MQTT broker. We can start doing that type of thing, which is pretty cool. But this is transforming the data. We can buffer the data, it looks like, and then we can have a handler. So from my understanding, handlers are exactly that. They can send data to the database. We can map them to particular columns as well. If I had a database selected, we could come up here and we could select the table or automatically create a new table and store the timestamp. This might be really handy when we're selecting columns as well. So yeah, it's super interesting. So that's going to be really handy for creating columns, expressions. Yeah, this is a kind of first pass for me. Haven't looked at any of the documentation either, so I'm kind of winging it through. So yep, you can then push that tag to the database, or it looks like you can do a gateway message, gateway event, Kafka, HTTP request. So we could probably get a put or a post request through to an endpoint. That's pretty cool. Or we can update a tag potentially as well. And then there's some error handling if there's any issues, you want to be notified of particular run status. These are going to be really handy when you have lots of kind of disparate data and you want to integrate that and transform the data back into a unified namespace model. And it looks like you can do some dry run testing as well. So you can run in stages and get test results within that event trigger, event stream interface as well. Other areas, I'm trying to think, what else do we have to look at? I think those are the main points for this release. So I'm really excited to get deep into this beta release, but this has just been a quick fire, have a look, have a bit of a play, and see, where can we go with Ignition 8.3. Give us a like in the comments, and I'll be up late diving into it. But yeah, if you've got any questions, feel free to shoot them through to me. If I can help, I can help. But yeah, look, tune into Unplugged Education and find out more about 8.3 and some of the development area in this space.